Hey, what's up, guys? It's time for another one of my ramblings, so hear me out. I had a thought about a couple of months ago about people who deliberately wait for a long time before they start dating actively, or maybe before they even go on their first date ever. And their reasons for putting it off is lacking the interest due to the fact that they are focusing on their career and they just want to have money and which is all right because I mean having kids, having a family, having a marriage costs. But at the same time, some people in their quest at achieving those financial stability goals and everything, it takes them a long time to build their, let's call it their financial fortress. Some people accomplish this in their mid 30s, early 40s, or sometimes mid 40s. And I have read and listened to stories and interviews of many people who end up regretting the fact that they started on that dating and stuff way later in life. And I personally see how that's a problem because your energy levels, A, are not going to be the same. Kids demand energy and attention. And I guess if you are financially stable, you can have free time to where you don't have to work as much, so you have free time and you can give them the proper attention, and at the same time maybe spoil them here and there. But at the same time, you as an older person, your tolerance level for kids, I would see that kind of on the decline because you yourself are gonna be tired. You're gonna be, your body's just not going to function the way it used to, the way you're used to. Um, and then you might have issues with your kids because they're going to wonder why you're in a bad mood or why you act funny, move funny, feel funny, and why you don't play with them as actively as maybe the parents who are younger of their classmates. And in addition, when you have a an age gap between you and your kids that's insane, I think that creates a new set of problems on their own because generations change and then you're not exactly keeping up with what that new trend is with the new generation. So I feel like with my mother, we had the perfect gap because even though she's from another time compared to me, I feel like she's still a pretty modern woman. But if I would have been born when she's in her 40s, by the time I'm an adolescent, she's gonna be in her mid 50s, close to her 60s. So, I just don't see her being able to keep up with what us kids are doing, or let alone have a big tolerance for certain changes that take place as a result of time passing by. Um, Also, you personally, as a person who's starting the date game later in life, I feel like you're not going to have any idea about what you're doing because when you are dating, that is a whole lesson, completely different lesson. So by you postponing your dating habits or whatever, you're missing out on how relationships progress. Say, the way you think of relationships as a young person, the challenges that relationships go through when you are not really capable, say on the mental level or on the financial level. Um, Pretty much when you encounter challenges like that, the beauty behind it is that you get to learn and figure out stuff about you, what you like, and the most important thing is how to address situations as they come. Because nowadays, relationships are hard as they are because I personally perceive that most people always have a foot out the door, ready to leave at the first sign of trouble. Which, I mean, if you have to watch for your well being, I encourage that. You do what you have to do to keep yourself healthy, happy, sane, etc. But for a person who really starts to look for a mate in your 40s, first of all, there's some advantage to your youth. But I can also see how you postponing that is also not going to do your body any favors. Because from what I read and research and understand, for women after your 30s, stuff starts to malfunction physically here and there. So having a child is something that can either aid you or it can hurt you. In my mother's case, it helped her because she had issues with some ribs. Um, she was anemic, and what else? I know it was also bone related. Yeah, bone related. But for some reason, after having a child, two kids if you count me, she started seeing the difference and feeling the difference. She was no longer as anemic. In fact, I don't think she even suffers from anemia to where it can be declared an anemic crisis anymore. At least I've never seen her go into the hospital or feeling some type of way as a result of anemia. So ever since she had us, anytime she went to the doctor, that never came up. When it comes to her bone situation, it's just a genetic thing. We just all have bone disease in our family. So she's doing pretty well given those circumstances, but we couldn't really expect for the best given that factor. And also, when it comes to her rib, I'm not really sure about the story on that one, but I know that she says that while my brother was developing in her insides, something happened to where just bones moved all over, and when she had him, she didn't have that rib issue anymore. So, however, for other people, especially those who have pre existing conditions, a pregnancy can be of high risk because um, you have to really closely monitor some of your body's responses, like some of your body's processes. And for some people, that can be lethal because not everybody has control over that, or I guess to put it bluntly, some people just don't have the discipline on how to take care for their body. Like you think, oh, I'm pregnant, I have to eat for two. So you start eating a lot, but it could be a lot of junk. And ultimately, you are hurting yourself more than you already are with your pre existing condition. And now you're also going to bear a child who is going to also suffer the consequences of your poor choices. I'm not saying that everybody is like this, but I'm saying that there are people out there who do not have the discipline. Let's face it. Maybe I'll be that type of parent, you know? So, but anyways, but all in all, I think you should at least try to date here and there. Like, get to know people, get to know what the dating atmosphere is like. Because if you start dating when you're much older, and you just don't have any experience or you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be shocked at the things that happen in relationships. You're only going to begin to start finding out about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what satisfies you, what disappoints you. And if you have a history, some kind of history, at least you know what to anticipate. And if any challenges come up, you'll have an idea of how to address them as opposed to being intimidated by it and just walking away and just, moving on without any experience. And also, most of the time, given your age, what you're going to find is people who already have their families established. if you're anything like me, I feel like as a person who is still, you know, young and I don't have any kids, I am looking for someone who doesn't have any kids. I have a right to demand that from my partner because I have taken care of myself. I have been patient and just waiting to for the right people to be together, like for me to be together with the right person and whatnot, and taking my time for me to responsibly make the decision to have kids. So do have I feel entitled to have standards on who I'm dating and who I choose to start a family with. So you cannot really expect that very much unless a miracle happens and there is a guy out there waiting for you, just like you, with his stuff together, and he decided to not have kids just to wait for someone like you. But it is so unlikely that you're going to find that, or let alone find that on time. So things like that is really what concerns me when it comes to possibly just going a whole life without dating, and then when I finally accomplish my goals, whatever they are, then I start pursuing this stuff, you know? I guess for me, because a career is not really what my goal in life is, or financial stability in a grand scale is not really what I aspire for, then I just cannot relate. And that's why I am damn not waiting for me to be established to start having a family. I have told myself I'm giving myself a time limit between ages of maybe 28 and 32. That's like the window that I want to give myself to have my first child, at least. I don't care what my situation is. I don't care just what my circumstances are. I don't care. I want to have my first child at around that time, because say that in my quest of constructing my dream of having financial stability, what if I don't accomplish that? What if I don't get to the level that I'm supposed to be to, I guess, appropriately and comfortably have kids? There's people who have kids and they end up being successful. It's all a matter of how you organize yourself and how you pursue things. I believe that I'm a hard worker and I have potential, so even if I were to have a child in dire situations, I will be responsible. I will take care of him or her, and I will take care of myself. It's not impossible. My mother did it, and the difference between my mother and I is she had a career and an extra set of skills due to her upbringing. But I'm just saying, I believe in myself. I know my potential. I'm gonna make it happen. So I just do not want to find myself focusing on the wrong thing too late in life and then living the rest of my days in regret because I decided to postpone such an important thing such as relationships. But then again, this day and age, some people don't think that relationships are important. Some people don't think that being a parent is important, or they just are intimidated by it because they look at it as a nuisance. Well, I'm not that person, and this is why. So, to the folks who are living in this manner, like you are postponing relationships and, of course, having children and everything because you want to be somewhere in life before all that, just know that you are going to experience some challenges. They're not impossible to overcome, but I think that it's important for you to at least consider dating here and there, because when you're getting together with another human being, there will be differences in opinion, differences in thoughts, differences in desires, and for you to be able to live happily with those circumstances, you need to be able to address them and have the, I guess, the skill of how to come together and live in harmony despite those differences. Because if you think that you're going to just find someone and date and everything's going to be all nice and flowers and dandelions because you have, say, money or something, it doesn't work like that. When you try to share your life with another human being, you are bound to some differences that you have to just know how to communicate, address, and resolve if there is a resolution for it. So I'm just saying, as a young person, I think that I'm on the right path. I have only had 3 relationships, and all of them have taught me things that I am glad that I learned at an early age, because I have been able to have better relationships come my way after each of them. So I think that I am going at a good pace. Um, Also, any challenges that I have experienced, I feel extremely satisfied with the way that I have addressed them and resolved some conflicts and everything. So, if I were to start the experience that I'm having now, 20 years from now, I can't say that I would be as open to learning as I am now, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm an older person, I'm experienced in life, but yet for some reason in the dating department, I have shut my doors. That's kind of weird. How can I find myself reliable when I haven't gone through the experience? Because I don't want to say selfish, but I was just focusing too much on myself and not giving a chance for other things to develop. Does that make sense? Anyways, guys, that is all that I wanted to say on this matter. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I got this completely wrong? Do you think I have um, decent concerns and whatever? Honestly, that's just my perception on it, because I try to put myself in the place of the people who do this and they end up regretting it. So I am trying to figure out what would make me regret that if I were to consider that type of a path. Not that I'm in it clearly, because of course that's not applicable to me, but if I would have done that, what do I think my challenges would be based on what I know? So, anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon.